Welcome, and Collins here for the Makers Movement. Today we'll be creating this lovely Christmas card. Let's go over some of the products I used to create this card. For the Makers Movement, the classic Christmas stamp set. This is a 9-piece set. It has two images. One is a cluster of snowflakes, and the other one is this lovely floral design. It has several sentiments. So 3 of them are quite nice and big and bold. One is Merry Christmas, Be Joyful, and Let Heaven and Nature Sing, which we'll be using today. The other one is Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, and It's a Wonderful Time of the Year. It also has a to and from, perfect for tags. So I went ahead and stamped my floral image on some accent opaque 80-pound cardstock. And I have some Rinea glossy gold on gold foiled paper and an A2 top folding landscape card, and that's from 110-pound cardstock. So we're also going to be using some VersaFine ink for our sentiment, which I'll be heat embossing with some detailed gold embossing powder, and this is from Ranger. And I'll be using two color families, red and green, of course, for our poinsettias and hollies, and a Sakura gel pen in gold for some accents. And I'm also going to bring in some little jewels here to decorate our card. This is totally optional. You can add it or not, but I like adding a little extra. All right, let me clear the desk so we can get started. Like I said, I went ahead and stamped my image using some Memento ink on accent opaque white cardstock, and that's 80-pound weight. And we're going to start with G14 for our lightest green color, and I'm coloring in all the holly leaves that are on this image. And then I'll go back in with G05 to add some shadowing and make it nice and bold. I've kept this very simple with just 2 colors of each color family because these are very small images, so they make quick coloring. You can use your color pencils, of course, or your real brush markers to color these images because they're, like I said, small, very nice, but they have a lot of beautiful detail to them. So I'm going to go ahead and do all the leaves all at once, and then I'll move on to the poinsettias. And these little leaves are so detailed, it's incredible. They did a beautiful job with this stamp set. And then you have the cluster of snowflakes as well that you can add to other cards, especially with winter theme cards that you don't need really to use them for Christmas. They could be used for winter cards. So I'm almost done here doing the light green, and then I'm going to move on to the G05, which will be our dark green. And then just adding that shadowing there. Alright, so now that we're done with the green, we're going to move on to the reds. We're going to use R37 and R39. We're going to start with the R37, which is the lighter red, and then we'll move on to the R39, which is our darker. And I'm concentrating the darker color more towards the center, being that poinsettias start out darker and then they go lighter. And then I'll go in with the Sakura pen, the Jelly Roll pen, to add all the center accents to our flowers here. Like I said, this goes pretty quick, and that's why I left it in, and I'm sorry I'm off screen. I will be on screen here in a second. It's just, since it's small and I wear glasses, that means I can't see small images that great. I needed to be a little bit closer to myself, and if I go where you can see it, you'll see my head instead. Alright, so now it's more on screen. And again, simple, quick coloring, which makes it very quick and easy. And we're down to our last flower about here. So I'm just going to go ahead and add the last of the red detail, the darker red here, which is the R39, in the center of these flowers. And we should be done. I'm going to go ahead and just blend that out better So now we're done. So you see these little berries in the centers of our flowers. I'm going to fill in with the Jelly Roll glitter gold, metallic gold pen. It's not glitter, it's metallic gold. So now once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my stamping platform. I'm going to center my card panel here. I use this laminated grid paper to help me get it nice and straight. I'm going to put my sentiment in here, and I want to center it using the larger poinsettia in the center of our little floral here to center up my sentiment. And then I'm going to stamp it using the VersaFine Onyx black ink, and then I'll add the gold embossing powder. So I'm going to use my anti-static tool here first because I only want the embossing powder to stick to my ink. I'm going to brush off the extra. I'm going to go ahead and ink up my image. Not my image, my sentiment. I'm sorry about that. Excuse me. Ink up my sentiment, and then I'll stamp it twice so I get a nice, good impression. And I also have nice amount of ink so that my embossing powder sticks to it. Press it in. And I'm going to quickly add my gold detail embossing powder. And this is Ranger Detail Gold. And I'm just using this little spoon I picked up at the Dollar Tree. This one, it's like a testing spoon. It's like where the party supplies are. I guess it's an appetizer spoon, but it works great for embossing powder. So it's an embossing spoon now. Anyway, so I'm shaking off any of the excess embossing powder. I'm gonna set that aside. And I like to heat from underneath and then over the image as well. This prevents my cardstock from warping too much. So now that my embossing powder is all set and melted, it's time to build our card. So I have my card base, which is again an A2 top folding landscape. And I'm going to adhere the Rinea glossy foil paper to it using a little art glitter glue. And I have a nice mat all the way around my card. And then for the card panel that we colored and embossed, I'm going to add some low profile foam tape, and then I'm going to add that to our card base. And now all I'm going to do is add some jewels. Now you can leave it here if you don't want to add any jewels. You can leave it here. It's perfectly fine. You have enough glitter and shine between the embossing powder and the Sakura pen and the glossy gold paper. But I wanted to add a little more to it, and I also wanted a little more dimension because I like dimension in my cards. Also, the word "let" is an open font, so if you feel like coloring that and adding some of the red and green or some of the red to the word, you can do that. I left mine plain. I just wanted the gold up there. So I'm going to go ahead and add the last few jewels, and as you saw, I moved one of my hearts because I have two red hearts and a green heart, so I added a lighter green, and I didn't want the two reds on one side, then it would be off balance, so I switched to two hearts on the bottom. I moved the red to the left and put the green to the right. So I'm adding the last few jewels here, and I'm just putting those around the floral arrangement there, and that's it. We're completely done with our card. So there you can see you have the nice gold touches from the pen, the jewels, the embossing, and everything coordinates beautifully. So let's go over again the products we use. We use the classic Christmas set. We use the floral and the Let Heaven and Nature Sing sentiment, some embossing powder, some oh my goodness, Copic markers. My brain just to color our images, and of course I'll have everything listed in the description box below. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you found some inspiration.